Hello again, everybody! Zach Attack is here with my TNA Impact Wrestling review for this Thursday evening. Thursday, December the 5th, 2013 now. Impact tonight, my thoughts, a little bit better than last week, but still, if you watched my review of last week, I vented about the lack of action. Of course, I wanted a little less talk and a lot more action. Well, it wasn't good. We only had one real match in the first hour. But we had four real matches tonight, the two finals, semifinals for the TNA tournament. And the old saying goes, quality is better than quantity. The quality was okay tonight. The final matches, the semifinals were decent. The main event ending, I'll take it and leave it. Take it or leave it. But there you go with that. Speaking of that main event was, of course, the semifinal match involving Kurt Angle and Magnus. That was the main event this evening. One of the semifinal matches, and the other semifinal would be our first match. Before we get to that first match, we had said participants of that main event match, Kurt Angle, calling out Magnus. Of course, Magnus and Kurt Angle, former members of the main event Mafia. Of course, Angle wants to reclaim his place as wrestling's best, especially wants to be in the Hall of Fame, ever since losing to Bobby Roode in the TNA Bound for Glory, declining his Hall of Fame status. And Angle's like, listen, Magnus, I like you and all. I'm going to beat you tonight. But what happened last week? We saw the main event. Last week, we saw my main event review for last week's Impact. I kind of vented about the way the match was booked. You know, Angle and all of his team members getting eliminated quickly. I didn't like the ending of the main event. Should have been a better main event than it was. The way it was booked, I didn't like it. Especially Magnus tweaked his knee, and Magnus is like, listen, I didn't do that on purpose to disrespect you. I respect you and Sting more than anybody else. Because you're Mafia guys. Even though we're going, hey, I still respect you. As they were talking about the match, the man who's also in the semis, his match is coming up right quickly. Bobby Roode said, I don't care who I get to face. I'm going to beat Jeff Hardy tonight, and I'm going to be in that final. I don't care who it is. And of course, here comes Seth Hardy. And that's how we get on to our first matchup. The first semifinal match. Jeff Hardy against Bobby Roode in a table match to, of course, determine who would be in the finals for the TNA title tournament, which would be December 19th at Final Resolution. I could have predicted that. Oh, yeah, I did predict that the finals would be at Final Resolution. And they are on December 19th. Anyway, this table match, decent open. A lot of false alarms. You know, a lot of missed opportunities. Like both Hardy and Roode, basically, of course, in the table match, you got to get the other one or the other to the table. And there was some decent spots in this matchup with some killer DDT moves. And the false finish was kind of a great, decent spot, too. There was like a lot of close calls, including a false finish with Hardy and Roode on the apron. They bunched each other, and both of them fell through a table outside the ring. And they restarted the match, though. That was like a weird false finish, but still, that was a decent spot there. Kind of like a team match, of course. Both these guys countered one or the other. Hardy, there's another cool spot, but Hardy did the twist of fate on Roode following the restart of the match following that false finish. Hardy got the swanton, or was attempting to do the swanton following the twist of fate on Roode, landing him on the table. Roode jumped out of that table before Hardy could do the swanton. Hardy did the swanton anyway. He actually swanton over the table, over the Bobby. That was a decent spot there. And Rudy's in there, even though a decent clothesline early in the match. That was another killer spot too. And both these guys knew what was on the line. Of course, opportunity to reclaim the TNA title. Of course, both these guys are former champions. And they've even faced off against each other for the title when Roode was champion. So after that swanton, Roode was doing for a suplex, and then Hardy got another kill spot when Hardy was trying to be blocking the suplex from Roode off the top. Roode kind of nailed him against the middle rope, you know, the nut shot spot, the classic spot, but predictable but classic spot, the nut shot on the rope, on the top rope thing spot. And then Hardy and Roode nailed up against the apron again, and Hardy punched Rude on the apron. Rude was on the apron, and Hardy punched him a lot. And with the power of Hardy's punches, Rude's momentum from those punches fell on top of the table outside the ring, which he was trying to suplex Hardy many times outside the ring. But Rude fell through the table thanks to those punches, and Jeff Hardy is the first man to advance into the finals for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship to determine a new champion. The finals to take place, of course, on Final Resolution in 2 weeks. So Hardy advances. And a decent opener. I wish there was more weaponry used besides the tables, but it's a decent opener. Very decent, exciting opener for this Impact tonight. Now, on with our next. I don't call this a match. I call this a segment. If you've been watching my Impact Wrestling reviews for the last couple weeks, I've been bitching about EC3, about him not getting any competition. By him jobbing, about squashing everybody, and not facing real competition. Like, I know TNA's trying to build him up and all. Are they purposely doing this because he can't wrestle? Are they purposely making him job the people because he can't wrestle? You know, he's been jobbing people, he's been squashing people like Shark Boy and Curry Man. You know he's such a pussy to face the big guys when he has to beat up a referee. That's right. Earl Hebner was his opponent tonight. And Brian Hebner was the referee. Oh, God, what the fuck, TNA? What the fuck? You know, this was fucking stupid. You know, Ethan Carter's saying is, the world needs us. The world needs Carter's. The world needs you to get fired. Or the world needs you to get some fucking balls and stop being on referees. Come on, TNA. You know what's bad when... You know how much of a pussy Ethan Carter 3 is when he has to beat up on referees because he's such a pussy to beat up on the big guys. Like, you're going to face Bobby Roode. I don't want to face Bobby Roode. I want to beat up the referee. He has the body of a Greek god, the brain of Kim Kardashian, and the wrestling ability of a WWE diva. Funny little joke there. You know, I think they're purposely making him job to people because he can't wrestle. Maybe I'm trying to perfect him more as a wrestler before he finally gets some balls and faces some competition. But this has been going on for a month. I'm sick and tired of it. Speaking of sick and tired, we saw what happened with Joseph Punk later on. Even Eric Young's like, I'm sick. In that segment later on, I'll get to that. But Eric Young said in that segment about bad influence, I'm sick of the booing. Everybody's sick of the booing too. We're sick of the booing and bad influence as we're sick of EC3 squashing people when he should be facing big guys and lose to them. Instead of beating him on referees. Come on, TNA. I know you're trying to build him up, but I'm sick of this, man. Nothing against EC3, but I don't think this is EC3's fault. It's TNA's fault for making him for the booking. You know, the bookings sucks on this guy. You have him squash people, then you should give him some good competition. Instead, you let him beat him a referee. Although he laid down, but come on, it was a pointless segment. Pointless. EC3 is the most hated guy. I never hated anyone this bad since Joey Ryan and Robbie E. But Robbie E's better. I'll give Robbie E credit. He's a champion. EC3 will never be a champion. Hope he gets fired soon. If this keeps up, if he keeps jobbing, he keeps squashing people, he keeps beating up on referees instead of getting real competition, he should go bye-bye. The world needs you to go away or get some balls, pussy. TNA, blame or not, it's stupid. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Even Rockstar Spud had to hammer on and get Ryan Hebner to count to 3. Of course, Dixie Carter's chief of staff. Now, on with our next scenario. Involving the segment I kind of hinted towards. Once again, a lot of segments tonight, but hey, like I said in the beginning, even though we didn't get a lot of action, quality over quantity. Of course, the expose, the big thing that Brand Influence was going to tease about, they had something they were going to expose Joseph Punk. I was hoping they were going to do what I was hoping they were going to do. Expose the truth. Not the storyline truth, but the truth. That Joseph Punk and Abyss are the same damn person. But I was fearing it would be something stupid, like a storyline thing, like, oh, Joseph Park and Abyss aren't really brothers. They're half brothers. Well, they went the storyline truth route and say that Joseph Park's not really a lawyer. That his law firm closed 13 years ago. They went down to his supposed location of this Park and Parks office, and it turned out to be a abandoned office. That Joseph Park wasn't really a lawyer. He was pretending to be one, even though he got fired 13 years ago. I thought they were going to expose the truth tonight, but if TNA's too pussy to have EC3 beat up on real guys instead of beating up on referees, they would be pussy not to reveal that Abyss and Joseph Park are the same person. So I should have known they were not going to do that route, since they're pussy and making EC3 beat up real people instead of beating up on referees. Anyway, after that, they kind of slapped Joseph Park around until Eric Young came in. Of course, Joseph Park's tag team partner saying that this bullying, like I said earlier, I kind of hinted towards this. But Eric Young saying the bullying that Bad Influence has done on Joseph Park since Bound for Glory has to stop. The fans are sick of it. I'm sick of it. So next week, we're going to settle it. Eric Young and Joseph Park against Bad Influence. Joseph Park's probably not. He wasn't feeling it because he just got humiliated again by Bad Influence, exposing him as not being a lawyer anymore. So, I don't know how his character's going to handle it. I've always applauded the guy who plays the best of Joseph Park by being a good actor here. He's going to be a good actor when he faces Bad Influence next week with Eric Young. Now, on our next matchup, tag team affair involving the champs. The Bullmans with the new DJ, Zima Iron. I am the real DJ here. Boom, boom, boom. Boom. Taking on the former champs, Gunner and James Storm. Of course, they have problems. I was hinting something was going to happen between those two tonight. I thought it would be a heel turn. But I think the seeds of tension are continuing to grow. You saw what happened 2 weeks ago with Gunner throwing the towel, inadvertently screwing James Storm out of the title match. His intensity got the best of him by ruining Storm's opportunity in the title tournament. Well, I think Gunner's intensity got the best of him and cost Storm again tonight. Despite a rowdy start, as Gunner and James Storm using both their intensities for their common good and beating up on the former champs, trying to get a title shot out of this non-title opportunity, trying to prove themselves again as a tag team. Gunner, despite coming in a role, he got isolated early on. Of course, Jesse and Robbie, I've already said Robbie East getting a little better, but not the best. And especially, they took real advantage, especially from Zima Iron, the DJ, doing the boom, 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 the big noise, distracted Gunner. It basically kind of helped Jesse and Robbie get the advantage in the later half of the matchup following the early fury from Storm and Gunner. The match was okay, but I like the fact that, like I said, the seeds of tension between Storm and Gunner continue to grow as Gunner got the hot tag into Storm following the isolation and distractions from Zima Iron's DJ machine. Storm came in with some killer clotheslines on Jesse and delivered the closing time backstabber, setting up the last call super kick, which he connected on Jesse. But as Storm got the pin on Jesse, Robbie spent beer in the eyes, in the face of Gunner. And Gunner inadvertently, with the reaction of him getting spat on by Robbie, inadvertently distracted the referee from counting James Storm from getting the win. Storm was furious that Gunner was distracting the referee as he was fighting with Robbie after he spilled beer on him. It added more problems when he pushed the referee as the referee was trying to break up Jesse's partner Robbie and Gunner. Gunner pushed the referee aside, causing disqualification. So like I said, the way that Gunner inadvertently cost Storm an opportunity at the World title by throwing the towel in 2 weeks ago in the match against Bobby Roode, Gunner unfortunately inadvertently cost Storm again a title opportunity by unintentionally getting himself disqualified, costing them another opportunity to tag team titles. Of course, Romans, boo, gets the win by over disqualification after Gunner pushed the referee aside after distracting the referee from counting Storm, who had the win. That's why Storm was angry. It's like, Storm, I had the pin. You had to distract the referee from counting me, and you pushed him aside and causes a DQ. I thought there would be a heel turn tonight, but I predict that these two will face off at Final Resolution. That's what I think. These two are going to duke it out at Final Resolution. Something's going to happen next week to cause the team to finally fall apart in a match at Final Resolution in 2 weeks on the Final Resolution Impact. That's what I'm predicting. Storm and Gunner in a match. But until then, the seeds of tension continue to grow. The problems continue to grow for Storm and Gunner. Our next little situation, this whole Sting and Rockstar spun. Like Sting and Dixie Carter have their problems now. Dixie Carter doesn't think Sting exists. It's kind of a silly thing, but we're on to the next matchup anyway. Gail Kim continuing her open challenge, even making fun of her challenges with the 365 meeting with her real life husband, of course, Food Network star Robert Irvine. Every time I see her, it still can't believe she's married to Robert Irvine. And every time I see Robert Irvine, I can't believe he married Gail Kim. Lucky dog, him. Gail Scale continue the open challenge. Took another opponent. Lower Dennis. Typical start for Gail Kim open challenge. Looked like another typical squash for Miss Gail. Basically punishing the young wrestler for getting an opportunity to wrestle the Knockouts champion. Maybe get a title match if she were to beat her. And despite Gail, and it didn't almost look like it, Laura did have kind of an offensive fury later on in the matchup as Gail was, of course, asserting her dominance in the Knockouts division. As she was taking control of the matchup, of course, Laura Dennis came in with some okay offense, some okay elbows, some decent pushes, and tried to kind of make the fans believe that she had a chance to win. But like all the others before, she indeed ate defeat. Eat defeat indeed she did. 1, 2, 3 victory for Gail Kim. In the words of Taz, Laura Dennis was just another victim. And indeed she was going to get bumped again post-match. Got another eat defeat for Gail. And as Lady Tabo was going to pick up the scraps, here comes ODB. Seeing her husband get involved in the bad influence situation, ODB decided to get involved in this situation, beating up on Lady Tapa and Gail Kim. Maybe Gail Kim may have to leave her open challenge. She may have to open it up to not just anybody outside of TNA because she thinks the knockouts are no competition for her. Maybe ODB may get a shot eventually, especially if she got involved in this situation. But maybe she'll get a match with Lady Tapa. Or maybe ODB will accept the open challenge against Gail, and then she'll win the match against Gail to get a knockouts match. That's what I think could happen, since there's nobody that's going to pull a Taylor Wilde, like someone come out of nowhere and beat Gail. So we'll see what happens there. Now, on with our next scenario. Our main event of the evening. Before we get to that main event, we got news about next week. Besides the Bad Influence versus Joseph Park and Eric Young match, we also got the return of Feast on Fire next week. Of course, the match involves 4 cases. And the winners of those cases, the stuff in the cases, what's in those cases could be good, or in one person's case, bad. One case contains a shot at the TNA title. One contains a shot at the X Division Championship. One a shot at the World Tag title match. And the 4th case, you don't want it. You're fired. Chris Daniels, Davoy, many others have been bestowed the fired case. In Daniels' case, he came back. But still, who will be the storyline fired in the Feast of Fired? We will all find out next week. On to our next match. Like I said, the main event of the evening. Kurt Angle taking on Magnus. Last man standing match. Now, there's some last standing matches that use weapons to weaken your opponent. In this match, it was pure wrestling to weaken the opponent. It was pure wrestling clinic because these two guys are both very collegiate, very athletic, Greco-Roman wrestling style, very methodical wrestling styles. You saw it earlier with the switch-offs from submission attempts. And of course, Angle suplexing the hell out of Magnus. He suplexed him like, what, 5, 6 times? But despite the punishment Angle was dealing to Magnus, Magnus kept fighting back. Sorry, allergies again. And kept coming on strong with some big moves of his own. And I can't believe they broke in between it. You know, they had a double clothesline to go to break. That was kind of a weird break to go after that double clothesline attempt. And then, of course, they fought outside the ring. And like I said, Angle's nailing the suplexes. And despite that, even Angle was trying to do the suplex off the apron on the floor. But Magnus countered that and dropped Angle to the floor until he did a running elbow from the apron onto Angle on the floor. And then Magnus tried to come back after the elbow. That's when Magnus started taking control of the matchup. But despite the punishment that Magnus was dealing on Angle, Angle was getting back up. So it was a decent main event matchup. And as Magnus was going for a suplex, which he did, and like I said, the big elbow again, Angle got up again. Like I said, despite all the punishment that Magnus was, like, both men were taking punishment from the other. And Magnus kept getting up from Angle's punishment, and Angle kept getting up from Magnus' punishment. So as Angle was trying to get back control after Magnus' little fury, the referee got bumped into Magnus and Angle, and the referee got taken out. And Angle again got a big suplex on Magnus, and Magnus was down. But of course, the referee wasn't able to count Magnus out. And I was like thinking in the back of my mind, is Bobby Roode gonna get involved in this matchup? Of course, they were hinting towards the possible Roode Angle final. We know Roode didn't make the final. He lost to Jeff Hardy. And I was wondering if Roode was going to get involved in this matchup, beating up Angle, despite the fact that he's not in the final. Well, he came out, beat up Angle. His referee was knocked out. He beat up Angle, beat him up, nailing him with a big neck breaker. And I was like, no way is Magnus going to win this, because Angle couldn't get up because he got beat up by Roode. So all three men, referee, Angle, and Magnus, were down after Roode beat up on Angle. And referee got back up. He came to his senses. Of course, Brian Hebner was refereeing this matchup following the silliness that was the so-called match with his dad and EC3. He counted. Magnus got back up. And Angle couldn't get up. So Magnus, with the help of Bobby Roode, advanced to the TNA title tournament final. I love Magnus, and I said in my Attack Sports today, I wanted Magnus to go all the way in this. But the way he won this match, the way he got to the final, kind of a screwy way. You know, he won with a little help from Bobby Roode, beating up Angle to not have him get up, following the referee being knocked down. You know, but by hook or crook, take it or leave it, love it or hate it, Magnus will advance to the TNA title tournament final against Jeff Hardy, who came out following the matchup as Bobby Roode was still laying it on Angle. After the matchup, Bobby Roode got back in the ring, like he said, beating up on Angle. Here comes Hardy to make the rescue. Since the finals won't take place till 2 weeks, not next week, I think a tag team match could be in order. Hardy and Magnus, or Hardy and Angle against Magnus and Roode. So there you go. And now the tournament final is, of course, in 2 weeks. At Final Resolution, but, of course, he needed a belt. AJ Styles, of course, ran away with the belt. And, of course, Dixie Carter said last week that AJ had a week to give her back the belt. I thought I saw the belt on Dixie's Twitter account, but tonight, as the so-called belt, like all these teases of packages throughout the evening, packages of flowers, Dixie got, or thought she got the package she was waiting on from AJ. It was a paper belt. I like the reference. Like, it wasn't the belt that Dixie wanted. It was a paper belt to put on the paper champion. Because the champ that's supposed to be crowned at Final Resolution isn't the real champ. It's, of course, AJ Styles is the real champ. In this storyline situation. And we ended with a video package from AJ saying, "Hey, Dixie, you got my package. It's not what you wanted, huh?" Like I said, it's a paper belt for a paper champion. A champion is only getting it because of the silliness of me getting shafted by you, Miss Dixie. You want the belt? Come to Georgia and get it, honey. So let's see what happens there about how Dixie's going to obtain this championship belt to put on her new champion, whoever it will be, Hardy or Magnus, in 2 weeks at Final Resolution. Till then, we got the Bad Influence versus Kaz and Daniels Bad Influence match next week against Eric Young and Joseph Park. And then, of course, we got the Feast of Fire match. And we'll see if Hardy and Angle team up against Magnus and Wu next week. We'll see what happens there. Okay, Impact tonight, better than last week, but I think it was like only 50 minutes of action this week, better than 30 minutes of last week. It's an improvement, but like I said, quality over quantity. It was decent quality tonight, but of course, TNA has room for improvement unless they fuck it up like they always do. But hey, it's TNA for you. Anyway, at least they're getting it right by putting Magnus in the TNA title final. I was bitching that I thought Magnus was going to win the TNA Battle for Glory series. Wouldn't it be funny if Magnus does end up winning the TNA title? He's going to win the title because of in a tournament that was made because of the man that he lost the Battle for Glory series to, and the man who went on to be the TNA champion walked out. Of course, referring to AJ Styles. That's funny. That would be funny if Magnus does win. That is it for this TNA Impact Wrestling review for this evening. I'll see you all later with that in mind. You've all been attacked by the review from Zach. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a great weekend, everybody. Yeah.